Hey Jonathan, how you doing?
Frank, hey, how you doing?
Good, good. How you doing, Jonathan?
And rocking and rolling, rocking and rolling. Um,
Yeah, it's funny. So I did see that and I see more than a few people posted that deal. So
really,
like the person that I have reached out to, like they literally fucking posted it, and I'm telling you, like like I like DM them, comment, like very interested, and then I like had asked them for more info or something, and then like literally like within 30 minutes, they're like, oh, the property's like no longer available. So I was like, oh, there's
yeah,
like a
that one seemed pretty sweet too.
yeah, yeah. It was like I'm telling you, I was like, oh, this is like it's I was yeah, the numbers like seem real good. So I'm gonna share my screen
Okay.
and just kind of show you like kind of what I do when I'm like analyzing this stuff. All right, so just a couple of things that like stand out like that I guess I kind of like look for right away is like one is like the price per square foot. All right, so getting it at $56 a square foot. Like that's like a good
Hold,
price.
hold on one second, Frank. Let me grab my let me get my I
Yeah,
my oh crap. No, that's not no, hold on, because I usually like to I got my notepad here on here. I just certain things I just like to kind of write down.
yep.
Uh uh And actually, I've come to learn that I can type it on my notepad here on my PC a lot faster than writing it out. Okay,
Yeah, it's
hold
funny.
on.
No, trust me. I got a yellow pad and pen right here because
Yeah, hey, actually, that's what I usually do, and I'll
I
just
like out of habit, like I just always use that. Even like when I'm like breaking down a deal, like I was like literally breaking down something for somebody like yesterday, and like see, it's like all just
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm like, God dog, and I gotta.
yeah.
Okay,
People will ask me like, "Oh, do you have like spreadsheets and stuff?" No, just pen and paper.
yeah, and actually, I was trying to find. What did I do? Oh, here. Hold on. Yeah, so I usually, I like I'm old school with it, man. I want to write it down, but I'm trying to transfer over my kids, man. You know, they like, Daddy, you gotta. I'm like, all right, listen, you can't lose paper in a cloud. you
Yeah,
know
exactly.
what I mean? Okay, all right. Sorry about that. All right, so let's go
Yeah,
for
all good. Yeah, so just some things, right? When somebody sends something like this, some of the things that I'm kind of like looking for, like is like a price per square foot. So if you can get a storage facility at $56 a square foot, which is kind of what you're getting this at, like that's a good price per square foot. You know,
it. Okay.
like now, and again, this is just, quick analysis, things that I'm like looking at. So it's like if I'm seeing like this is, I would say like a pretty decent price per square foot. Like if you're getting it like 30s, 40s, like that's really good. If it's like closer to like 90 to 100, like it should be in a really good area with some good upside, if you're paying that much. And
Mm-hmm.
reason being is like replacement cost, right? Like you shouldn't be paying 90 to 100 a square foot for one story drive up because it doesn't even cost that much to build it. Like if
Okay.
you were getting multi-story, which is kind of more like in Philly, for instance, like there's no setback requirements for industrial real estate. So if you build like a site in Philly, it's not going to be one story drive up. It'll be like three or four, stories, multi-level.
Okay.
So something like that is a different type of construction than what we're kind of like looking at right now. So like that is going to cost you 100 to $120 a square foot to build. But something that's like one story drive up, just depending upon how much site work is involved, you're probably going to spend somewhere between like 40 to like 60 some dollars a square foot. And if there's not like much site work involved, and when I say site work, like there could be um removal of trees, there could be um like a water retention pond, depending upon how much, square feet that you're building. So you might have to spend a good amount of money before you can even start constructing the actual storage just to make the ground, the way it needs to be.
Okay. So
Um,
$56 a square foot, obviously, it's a pretty good price right off the
yeah,
bat.
yep.
So that's kind of the first thing you just kind of just looked at, like, okay, wow, all right.
Yeah, so like just as a whole, right, the price per square foot stood out to me. The fact that it's owner financing, the
Yeah,
actual terms of the owner financing, the fact that it has 94% physical occupancy. So you'll see there's terminology, physical occupancy and economic occupancy.
right.
Physical occupancy is just what it says, right? Like, all right, if there's just assuming there was, just say that it was 94%, there's 100 units. That means 94 of the 100 are occupied. When they refer to economic occupancy, it has more to do with um, the percentage of, the current, what they're charging relative to the market rate of the rent. So like the physical occupancy could be 94%, but the economic occupancy could be 55%, meaning that the current revenue is only 55% of what like it could potentially be because it's under market rent.
Okay, all right. Yes.
Not in a flood zone. Like again, that's like a positive because like that can be like a deal killer at times. Um, if it's in a flood zone or
How do you actually know it's in the flood zone? I mean, what?
like that's something that we can ask, but there's like actually a site that you can look up and just kind of see if it's like a national site that you can see if it's in like any a flood zone or any like wetlands.
Okay.
But like sometimes I just, unfortunately find it out during the due diligence process.
Mm. So
Like
that
I've
that
had
ob- that
before, like
obviously that obviously kills the deal, pretty much,
it
right?
depends. Like if the, you know, if the extra land and the build out was the main value add, then yeah, that could kill the deal. So for instance, like I literally had a deal, I don't know, within the past 90-ish, 3 to 4 months, really good deal in Connecticut, high end market, lots of demand. We were getting it at like maybe like a 7 cap, like as it sat,
Right.
and like there wasn't like significant um room to increase rents. There was some, but like not a crazy amount. But the play was, from like a land perspective, they only built on like a quarter of the land, right? So there was a
Mm.
crazy amount of demand. So, based off of how much land there was and the demand that was in the market, we figured we could take it from like 20,000 square feet. So I want to say like 60,000.
Hmm.
Well, after we kind of got it signed and everything, and I had like the buyer lined up, come to find out, all of there was no additional land that could be built on.
Mm.
Everything that was there was like wetlands or flood zone. So it killed the deal because like sometimes the value add isn't a physical build out at all. It's just increasing occupancy and or increasing the rents.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like if something's and sometimes like it makes sense just by doing that, and then a build out would kind of be icing on the cake. But if the build out is the value add that takes it from, hey, it's kind of not a deal because you're getting it at like a 6, 7, whatever cap, a cap below what you can need to get it at. So the build out is what takes you to the cap that you need to be, and you can't build it out. Like that is something that would kill the deal.
Okay. It's
And then now I'm looking into like the actual market, right? So this is in Borger, Texas.
yeah.
So I actually was like kind of like looking that up. So if you like look, like this is, in the last, 30 years, like this is like a declining market. A little bit less in the last 10. So it mainly kind of declined from 1990 to 2010. But just to kind of put things in perspective, right? Like when the population, and it could have been higher pre 1990. So it's like they build out everything that is needed in a community for the most part based off of that population at that point in time. Well, if the population continuously decreases, well, there's more schools in the area, there's more everything in an area, for the higher population. So like that is something that is like a negative, right? Like if you're seeing an area where the population is declining, like that could potentially mean that there was enough storage to supply the higher population, and now that there's a lower population, it's oversaturated. Like that's just a potential. There could
Right.
be the potential that they never built out the proper amount of storage back in 1990 for that in a population, and it was a very underserved market. But again, that's just kind of something that I'm kind of like looking at, like what is the population trending up or down?
So you just did a quick, just Google Borger, Texas population.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
and then this is all just a quick analysis, basically, just kind of looking at everything to make a quick um, analysis of what was sent to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this is like, so like there's three things that I look at, that's market specific, that has nothing to do with the deal, right? So that's the population, the average household income, and then the average home price. So like we see that, and that population is like decent size. Like anything that's like 10,000 or more, like that's like a decent size market.
Hmm.
And even if like in reality, like there's opportunities, it's all about supply and demand. But like even in a market that's like 4 or 5,000 in terms of the population, like that's like a decent enough size. Generally speaking, if it's like 1,000, like 2,000 or less, if it's 1,000 to 2,000, if it's like 1,000 or less, like I almost like completely don't even like look at it, especially if it's like a larger one.
Okay.
Uh, just because, you know, if there's less than 1,000 people in a town, like how much demand is there going to be for like storage?
Exactly.
So again, it just comes down to like risk.
Okay.
But at the same time, shit, like if you were getting something that it was in a really small town and it had great numbers, the numbers are the most important thing. Like if it was like 20,000 square feet, fully occupied, and you're getting it at a good cap rate, like that would still be something that you could pursue because there's not like risk there. It's not like it's like, oh, there's 50% occupied and you got to fill it and raise the rents. Like now that's becomes like risky because, maybe it's only 50% occupied because they couldn't get it filled because of the lack of population or demand.
Okay. I got you.
All right. So Border, Texas, average income. So the average household income is actually trending upwards. So that's like a positive. And that's a decent size, like that's decent income, 50 plus thousand for average household income. So like that's
Yeah.
like a solid number. And now like looks like if I look sometimes with you'll with the prices, they'll be kind of all over. Like you'll see here it says like 86,000, 157, 45, 123. So you kind of just like average those out. So like
Okay.
it looks like retail sales, the average is probably, a little bit over $100,000.
Yeah.
So population, okay. Income, I would say decent, like better than okay. But then this, like the home price, like that's like pretty low.
Okay.
So this is probably like a C market. So that type of market, um, you know, you'd probably be able to sell something at like roughly, 8.5, a 9 cap, something like that, give or take. If the market like was worse, slightly, you might need something could trade at like a 10 cap. And if it was like a better, you might be able to move it for like a 7 or an 8 cap. And what determines those things, right? Like if you had, 100,000 population, 100,000 income, and 500,000 for the home price, that's
Yeah.
kind of like an A type of market, high population, high income, high home sales. So that is the market cap rate there is going to be, like lower, something could likely trade at like a 7 cap, maybe even lower if it's a really big asset, you know.
So, and obviously, the lower, the higher the price generally, right? Oh, as far as the cap
Yeah, yeah. The lower the cap, the higher the, price.
rate.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like the lower the cap just means, the lower return you're getting on your investment because there's lower risk for the market and the asset that you're acquiring at. So now on the flip side, that's kind of the A market. We just, Borgers like a C, and then like a market that was like worse than this, if there was like less, if there was like 5,000, 5,000 or even 10,000 or less people, home prices are under 100,000 and the average income is like under 40,000 or
Yeah.
under 35 or like, 30,000. That means there's, it's a worse market. There's more risk in that market. So the market cap rate is going to have to be higher. Someone needs to get a better return on their investment for taking on more risk in the
More
market.
risk. Right. Okay. Good.
All right. So it's it's 94%, occupancy. So what we want to kind of determine now, right? Like what is the cap rate right now as it sits? Like what's the current income, like not projecting out at what could be, but what is? What is it now? And then what can we conservatively get it up to within the next 12 to 24 months? And the value add in self-storage is, hey, can we raise rents? Can we increase occupancy? And or can we add more storage? And then like, they do have a note, but we would want to check that on our own, like just saying currently 45 for 10 by 12s, and that should be, 60, and 60 for 10 by 16 should be 90. So, and just to kind of get like a going from 45 to 60, right? Like it's not that much in terms of a monthly payment for someone, it's not that big of a difference.
Right.
Going from 60 to 90, not that big of a difference. But if
Okay.
you look at a percentage of revenue, going from 45 to 60 increases the by 33%. Going from 60 to 90 increases by 50%. So it's like,
That's
those are just kind of good numbers, right? Like that
yeah.
means like you can potentially get up the revenue. Like this isn't something that you have to, lease it up. It's just, hey, close on it, and three
And
to
then
six
increase the
months, you just kind of keep raising the rents until you get up to the market rates.
now let me ask you this. In a situation like that, do you immediately go in and increase it to 60, or do you gradually do it over, say, a 12-month span or 12 to 24-month span?
Yeah, you do it gradually. Well, there's different takes on it. Some will say, hey, just kind of rip off the band-aid, and do it like all at once, because at the end of the day, you'll get like the people that can't afford it or don't want to stay, and then now you can get more people in there, at the market rents. Like that is
Right.
honestly, it again, it depends like really like on the market. Like it's
Okay.
if there's significant demand like in the market, you can kind of get everyone out that's like paying low, um, because there's demand there to fill at a higher rate like instantly, compared
Right.
to like, hey, if you're uncertain of the demand, you might not want to do it all at once because 70% of the rent coming in is better than 0%, if you can't potentially fill it.
Right. Okay.
So now I'm gonna open up the All right, so like the rent roll is like really what I want to kind of like look at.
Now, obviously, this being already signed by an investor who pretty much already have done their due diligence, but I know at the state that we're going in, we are the investors that will potentially have this information, or at least have to get this information from a seller, right?
Yep.
So, in some cases, from what I'm hearing or what I've heard, I should say, and that if you happen to get, I mean, I guess mid markets, smaller markets, dealing with maybe some mom and pops, they may not have all of this information readily available. So we have to ask and basically dig for this information to put it together for a buyer. Is this what you would actually do for a buyer that you're trying to sell it to?
Yes. So
Okay.
sometimes like they don't even have like a rent roll. Um, and I've just had my assistant like draw one up like for them.
Okay.
Um, and even kind of like, the just a breakdown of the number of units, the sizes and stuff like that. We have to like with the mom and pops, like, yeah, like they're not always going to have like, it's almost like the mismanagement of them, quote unquote, is
Mhm.
the financial distress, like them not having everything together. And or just like, not managing it from the perspective of having the high rents. Like that's kind of why we're able to get them at the prices that we're able to.
Okay.
But yeah, like there was literally one, it's kind of funny, it just kind of died and it's kind of coming back to life. Like I had earlier this year, like had a property, had it under contract, had it sold. Um, the buyer had everything lined up. Then some stuff kind of came up with a phase one, and then the seller starts dragging his feet. And then he come to find out, he like realized he was going to have to pay like $250,000 in taxes to when he sold the property. So he kind of like flaked out on us. It's kind of coming back to life. But that guy, it was like small mom and pop. He had like nothing. He didn't have his tax returns. Um, there was not much for us to kind of go off of. Um,
What do you do? I mean, how do you navigate through that? It's just,
like
I mean,
you just have to like, so like bank statements, right? Like
okay.
part of our due diligence is like bank statements, right? If you're telling us like, hey, like I'm getting, that guy was only getting, it was like a 50 some thousand, 50, 60 some thousand net rentable square feet and was only bringing in like 9 grand a month just because it was like so under market rent. So it
Mm,
was just a matter of confirming that he was consistently putting in $9,000 a month into this account.
mm,
Now, don't get me wrong, it's a risk, right? Like it's like no different than in the residential where it's like you just kind of have to do the best that you can to kind of minimize like the risk involved. We did like a site visit, making sure like it's supposed to be 100% occupied. And, we did a site visit, making sure it was 100% occupied. The likelihood of him, it'd be one thing if he's like, oh, it's full and this is the income. And then we go there and like half of it's like vacant, right? Like that's a red flag and probably would
yeah.
want us to kind of walk away from the deal. But everything was kind of like checking out. Um, we Um, the site visit, everything was full. Like the bank statements were able to confirm that he was depositing the amounts that he was saying that he was getting from the tenants. Um, but
Okay.
yeah, like, at the end of the day, like we just have to do whatever we have to and can do to get something to the settlement table,
Yeah.
within reason, obviously.
Gotcha. Okay. So that one there is, I think, the customer balance of what is outstanding. I
Yeah,
remember that one, which is crazy.
yeah,
That's
that's 85 grand.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find something that has just like what they're kind of collecting. Um,
Is that it right there? I mean, says that the A. Oh, says what? Oh, you talking about
yeah,
just the
this is
name?
just kind of like a map and like what they're like charging, but I'm trying to see like what's like what are they actually bringing in on a monthly basis?
Yeah. Uh,
This might have it. Say like property class. See,
yeah. Is that it? Income down at the bottom tab or the cash flow rent rolls.
okay.
Yeah.
Know why people don't like sum this shit up. All right, so yeah, so based off of that, and that's 53, 55 a month, and that's not even all of it coming in.
Yeah.
So like that's like really low. Um, and here's another site too that I use, and this is you got to pay pretty much like per hour to use the site.
Oh
It's like
wow.
20 bucks per hour, but it's honestly pretty useful. Like it'll tell you like about demand in a particular market. Can you just read me that property address?
Oh yeah. Let me go back. It is crap. Where did it go? Oh, 3301 Fairlanes, Fairlanes Boulevard, in Borger, Texas, 79007.
All right, so there's like red dots or just other storage in the area. So then I'll look at like the trade area. And then if you look at this numbers here, um, so there's 71,000 square feet of storage in like a 3 mile radius of this facility.
Hmm.
So that is generally kind of where you want to look at. Like generally when people rent storage, it's within 3 miles. Like that's kind of like a comping area, you would say.
Okay.
So the national average for every person, there should be 7 square feet of storage. So that kind of,
You said the national average.
yes, so um for every one person, there should be 7 square feet of storage on average. And that number seems to be trending upwards, to be honest.
7 square feet of storage.
Yeah, so if you had 100,000 people within a 3 mile radius, theoretically speaking, there should be 700,000 square feet of storage to fill the demand needed for those 100,000 people.
Okay.
So what this number is here, this is above the national average. There's 12 and a half square feet of storage in this area for every one person.
Hmm.
Now, there's literally some areas where the number could be 20, and there's still demand there.
Wow.
And sometimes like it could be less than 7 and it's not. So like if there's um a number that's higher than the average, the best thing to do, like what you want to do is like contact the other storage facilities in the market. At the end of the day, if it occupancy is a more important metric than this metric, the national average of square footage per capita, right?
Okay.
Like if everyone's full and they're at market rents, that means that there's still demand in an area.
Okay. Gotcha.
Now, if if this facility was like low occupancy, which it's not, and other facilities were low occupancy, like then it's like, hey, well, this would be risky to purchase this. Like you can't. If it's one thing if a market is undersaturated or there's not enough storage to supply demand, then you can bank on like raising the rents, increasing
Mhm.
occupancy because there's the demand there. But if there's not demand and it's like oversaturated, like if your play is like, well, hey, I'm going to buy this and increase the rents, I'm going to double the rents. Well, maybe the only reason that you're full is because you're half of the market rents. And if you attempted to go try to double the rents, they would leave and go to the other facilities.
Right. Okay. All right. Gotcha.
This will also like show some competitors, and then it'll kind of give you some rates. This one like doesn't have it on there. Sometimes let's say it's like a 50-50 shot, like whether they have it. And this is kind of more just the overall the macro market, like the bigger market where the within the 3 mile radius is like the micro market. So like the
Mhm.
macro market is it's 8.54 per scrap per 8.54. So it's slightly above the national average.
Well, how far does that go out? Does that go out at least 5 miles or longer?
Yeah, it's actually more than 5 miles, I want to say. Like it's almost like the county almost.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I've been hearing that, you want to try to do at least a 3 to 5 mile uh, analysis of, where the facility is that we're looking to either purchase or, whatever, but contract. And I can see now, at least from what I'm seeing here, is that obviously there's a way to, and I'm just thinking about this in terms of single family, there's a way to do an analysis of finding out our assignment fee. But then there's also uh, systems that we could utilize that allow us to be able to do it a lot quicker. And it's best to know at least know how to do it without a system. And then this particularly looking at this now, I'm starting to see like, okay, this actually can really kind of help tremendously, although we're paying for it. But if you don't know how to do it without a system, it's best to know how to just go out. And so I guess my question would be, if without this, what would you need to do as far as doing the analysis of finding out the square footage, or at least finding out the information for a 3 mile radius to 5 mile radius?
There's not really anything that I'm aware of to do outside of this in terms of a
Oh,
system, aside
okay.
from like calling the other
Just
facility.
calling them. Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah, but I would just recommend this. But it is best, like I use it one off.
Right.
It's
Okay.
best to not do that, right? Like you can literally just, hey, you got like 6 leads and then bang them out in an hour. And now you spent $20 to analyze 6 instead of 20
Mhm.
bucks to analyze one at a time.
Good. Good. Okay. I got you.
But yeah,
Now
no,
let me
that's
ask you this.
definitely the best thing to do is kind of when you're utilizing this. And sometimes it's not even like you're going to have to necessarily look at this, right? Like sometimes you're looking at the market, you're looking at the numbers, and the demand doesn't even come into play.
Then you
Um,
wouldn't even need to use this at
yeah,
all.
exactly.
Okay. I got you. Okay. Smart. But this helps kind of shore up your analysis from, okay, you did 1, 2, and 3, you checked the average income, looks okay, you check the home price, check the population, looks okay. So let me dive a little deeper into what's going on with the facility. Let me ask you this: from this point, if you do happen to see, for instance, like you were just showing me, it showed 3 facilities and their information. Is there a need for us to still call them to get any additional information if there was? You were saying that they didn't show any facilities that within that range, but if it was, would there be any need to just to call them for any additional information at all?
Yeah, so to me, this would be a situation where it would be good to call them.
Hmm.
So if everything is checking out, like then I'm like looking here to say, all right, hey, like, you know, making sure that it's not oversaturated market, right?
Right.
And then if it is like this is something where it's a potentially oversaturated market, it's not like the number, like I said, the national average is like 7 and trending up, and it's like 12 or 12 and a half. It's not like it's like 20 or something like that, right?
Hmm.
So, and then in this situation, it would be good to call them, the other facilities, to see about their occupancy.
Okay.
And when you call them, like you can't just call them like you're giving the real reason of the call,
Right.
because they're not going to want to share that information. So I'll generally have like my virtual assistant like call and say, hey, um my boss had an office in the next town over. He's closing his office. We have a bunch of furniture that we need to store, you know, not quite sure how many. We might need like 30, 40, 10 by 10s. Like what do you have available?
Yeah.
And kind of
Okay.
come from that like approach just to see like what the occupancy is. And then like if again if we look at this and it seems like it's an oversaturated market, but yet we have contacted all the other facilities within like a 3 mile radius, and all of them are full, or they don't have a lot, because it doesn't have to be full. It doesn't have to be 100% occupied. Like 85 to 90% is like a good occupancy rate. So if
Mm.
they're like all 85, 90+% occupied and they have good, market rents, then that says there's demand in the area.
Okay. Good. And we wanted to make sure, obviously, that there's demand in the area, that it's not oversaturated. And obviously, and I'm just repeating this. This helps me,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so uh, being that it can show that, say, our numbers are a little higher, and it shows that it potentially could be oversaturated, we still need to contact the local mark or the local other facilities just to see, because again, those
Yeah, so
numbers can be
like,
misleading sometimes.
yeah, if it is oversaturated, then we definitely want to call them. If it looks like it's not oversaturated, then I honestly there wouldn't be really a need to give them a call.
Gotcha. All right.
So just more so if they are, because if this shows there's demand in the market, and it's like below the national average, like then that's going to be accurate.
Okay.
But if it shows like like it's above the national average, that doesn't necessarily automatically mean that it's an oversaturated market. It's just a kind of general metric to kind of go by. At the end of the day, the occupancy um amongst the local storage facilities in the area, like that is the most important. That number's more important than like what's where they at in terms of like relative to the national average.
Okay. I got you. I got you. Okay. All right. So now we've determined that this is not necessarily oversaturated, but looks like it can be potentially, or
Yeah,
at
it could
least close to
potentially
it.
be. So, and that could also be the reason why rates are so low, right? Like he has a high physical occupancy, but really low rates. So
Mhm.
it could mean that like they couldn't, like that market couldn't kind of get rates up to what they probably could and should be, because it's overbuilt.
Okay.
Again, like that's just a potential scenario. It could just be this guy, a lot of people, like for the avatar of the people that we're looking for, like they do not stay up on raising their rents. It's almost like people do with single families. If
Yeah.
somebody moves in and they pay and they're not a headache, people tend to not raise the rent. Well,
Yeah.
people do that over the course of 5, 10, 15 years, you could be paying, 50% of what the market rates are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And that makes sense. Um, now that you say it that way, so that's good.
Yeah, like that's honestly something that we're like really like looking for. Like someone that has high occupancy, but low rates. Their rates are low relative to other market rates. Because like right, like somebody like that, they're not like selling it to us based off of a cap rate, and they're selling it to us based off of like the low income that they're collecting now, not necessarily the income that it could be at and or should be at, once we get it closed.
Right. Okay.
So like
Okay.
that's kind of the opportunity and the value add. Like I said, the three like value add components are like just the increasing rents, increasing occupancy, and or like a build out. But like if you can just get it like especially where that it makes it a good deal just off of increasing the rents, and then the build out is kind of like icing on the cake.
Mhm.
Those are, can be really
Like,
profitable.
yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, so
Now,
with this particular one, I would say that and again, I don't think this is necessary. You can call this guy or whatever, but I'm almost positive that this deal had sold, like, because this was from like almost 3 weeks ago that they kind of posted this initially.
yeah, and actually, it went into my spam folder, and I was just going into empty out my spam folder. I was like, "Crap, man, they sent this." So, yeah, but I'm gonna still follow up and see.
Yeah, and it could be like this guy's like a wholesaler, so even if this one's like gone, just say, hey, look, I'm looking for opportunities. So anything that you get,
Yeah.
send my way. Um, and then also like something that was like good, potentially good, was about like there's some extra land that you could potentially expand on. But then again, that kind of just comes into like, is the demand there for that to even happen?
Hmm. So the first thing that stuck out was the square footage. There's a good per square footage price.
Yeah, good
Uh,
price per square foot. The seller financing, not only was it seller financing, but it had good terms of the seller financing.
yeah.
The physical occupancy is like something that stood out. Um,
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you this: and I guess obviously seller financing. I'm actually getting ready to do one on a property on a single family home we own. But as far as what would be considered a good seller financing deal in comparison to, I guess, single family storage, I mean, is there?
well, I'm saying that honestly, from my perspective, it's pretty similar, right? Like it's
Okay.
like I
Okay.
always say, like if somebody wants like a higher purchase price, then I need the terms to be, more favorable for me. If I'm getting a better price, then I can understand that the terms be more favorable to the seller.
Okay.
But like in a
Gotcha.
perfect world, like, you're probably paying slightly more than like what you would in cash, but it still makes sense because you're structuring it creatively. You're putting somewhere between like 10 to 20% down. Um, the interest is going to be lower than what you could get like in the market right now. Like that's kind of like a good thing. And then just like the term will always depend upon like what the play is, right? If
Right.
it's just a lease up play, um, a lease up and rent increase, you really don't need longer than 2 or 3 years because the objective is going to be to do a cash out refi to get the people, the private money back and all that other stuff. So you don't
Right.
need and like a really long time in that scenario. Like if it's going to be like a build out play, that takes a little bit longer. So like having 5 to 7 years like would be more ideal.
Ideal. Okay. 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 Good. All right.
Yeah, and you definitely like I literally we ask every seller like if they're open to owner finance. Every lead that we get. So definitely anyone that you talk to like with these, just say, hey, are you open to selling the property on terms?
Okay. Um, hmm. There's another question I was going to ask you, but uh, oh, now, obviously, at this stage, we're looking to potentially wholesale these, and that's kind of really the play for me and my team as of right now. We want to wholesale several of these to be able to get an influx of right now cash to ultimately be able to purchase something, because if we happen to get a deal like this come up, we're sitting on some cash. I'm able to make moves to be able to, because I want to purchase uh, and I want to own and operate at least three of these facilities. That's my ultimate goal, at least to have at least three of these facilities that I'm operating remotely, but continue to wholesale these to get, the cash in, and then have that operating, those funds to be operating as far as passively. Um, so I guess my question is that um, I guess I'm answering this myself. I'm just thinking this out loud now that I'm actually saying it. But in your model right now, you're primarily just wholesaling these, and then if you're able to hold some percentages of the, you will, but you're just wholesaling these outright primarily, right?
Yeah, like that has been the my main objective. But like I would say in 2024, I am going to start focusing on like raising some capital. But like how you want to kind of be an operator, like I'm not an operator. So
Right,
like I'm going to focus on finding, raising capital. But I'll always partner. Like the reason that I wanted to kind of wholesale them was because I knew that I lacked as an operator and I wanted to build the relationships with the operators.
right,
Right. Like now there's two people that I work with that like focus on the industrial that like I have good enough relationships with them. Like one, they've proven that they are more than capable of operating these assets well. Like
right.
that was the main thing for me, right? Well, now that they've proven themselves to me, we have built a relationship with each other. They will manage assets for me, for a percentage.
Exactly.
They don't have to do anything else.
Right,
So now, if there's like a really good opportunity that presents itself, now I'll go raise the capital or find the capital and give, the operators a smaller percentage, and I'll be able to keep a much larger percentage for just putting
exactly.
the pieces together. But that's like
Right,
the bigger picture with all of this. Like I don't want to just I eventually don't even want to wholesale any of them. It'll just be more of an
acquisition.
acquisition company more than a wholesaling company.
Right,
And people that I kind of educate and show how to get the deals will bring me deals that I'll be able to purchase and not necessarily just assign. And then
right.
obviously still definitely assign some. Uh,
Yeah.
but
I
main
guess
objective
it
is
sounds like it's pretty much kind of the same in regards to, yeah, ultimately, because
yeah, with
really,
houses, like it's the same thing I did with houses, like right, like the ones that were like the best ones, like yeah, I would try to flip them or like buy the rentals myself and then
mhm,
wholesale like the other one. So
mhm.
same shit, different toilet, just hey, like in my mind, it's like if I can get to a point in a couple different asset classes where I'm doing, 3 or 4 deals a month and like one or two of them, I'm kind of keeping and like two I'm keeping, two I'm wholesaling,
Right.
like that'll be more than
That's again, that's the play of what I'm looking for ultimately, and really, what you're doing, and I appreciate, man, your time, and I literally appreciate everything that you're doing here with me and all the guys in that finding these and knowing how to find them, knowing how to analyze them, knowing how to contract them, I believe is the biggest piece. And even in I just think I just find myself better equipped to be able to do that portion of it and lock in on that because, hey, if I can find them, like you said, I mean, I can keep some and I can sell some, and to keep the finances going in on both sides primarily. And that's really what it
yeah, and,
ultimately
and
comes
not
down
even with like a super huge facility, like especially like if you find the deal, you're putting up some of your capital, you're managing the asset, you can make thousands of dollars a month on one.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what it would take you, lots of like many doors, to acquire. And with one closing, you know, it could literally, you can make 5 to 10 grand a month or more off of one of these assets.
Yeah. And see, I got three individuals now that, you know, actually, now that I say it, I got four individuals that I know personally that are high net worth individuals, and they know what I've been doing and in the single family space. And I told them that I'm moving into this space, and they're like, "Listen, we got the money. We'll invest it with you." So I'm like, okay, so I need to know, okay, at least with those, I got some individuals now that can put up cash that even like even with this particular deal, that's why I was, but I was obviously kind of slow on it because I didn't know. But I know these deals will come to play, and especially if I'm the one that actually finds these deals and say like, hey, boom, this person owner financed this thing. I got a buddy of mine who's a multimillionaire, and he's like, man, I got cash. Just let me know. Boom. I'm like, all right, cool. So I again, I'm a student. I'm not trying to, I don't want to go through all of that. But anyway, I'm seeing now that what you're doing on this part, in my opinion, is the biggest portion of it because when all else fails, I can find a deal. I know how to analyze the deal, close on it, and still make money. And even if I don't have an asset right now that's bringing in that cash, but I can also find a deal and say, hey, you know what? I want to keep this puppy and do what I need to do with it. So, all right. So other than that, those three things, because I don't want to hold your time. I know you got, I know you got other things to get done.
Oh, any questions or anything, ask away. It's not no rush at all.
Um, with the with seeing those things, obviously those were good things. So what would be your next step here? If just primarily if this deal was still available, what would be your next step as far as you showed me what the first things you were looking for as far as a quick analysis. What would be your next step at this point?
To me, the key variable with this at this point with this is just whether the rates and occupancy of the other facilities, right?
Okay.
Like the only way that this makes sense is if you can raise the rents to what we're kind of projecting, because there's only right now it's only bringing in 5 grand a month.
Right.
So you realistically need to get the income over to $10,000 a month for this to make sense.
Right.
So if the other facilities have very low rents and or occupancy,
Mm-hmm.
I would stay away from it altogether because it
That,
would be a risk to assume that you can go from 5 to 11,000 a month based off of the other facilities in the market.
okay.
Now, if the other ones, it says, the 10 by 12s are 60, if the other facilities rates are where these kind of projections are, and
Mm-hmm.
if there's high occupancy, then it wouldn't be a risk, in my opinion, to get these rents up to, where they need to be.
Now, did you happen to see this video of this? Did you watch the entire video?
No, no.
Okay.
I'll
So
play
he
it here.
actually did do he called and he did show the rates of the other ones that are around, and they're primarily about 80% occupied. I think the 10 by 12, no, the 10 by 15s, I think were at like 80. They're no, the average is about 77. Most of them are about $80 a month. And then the larger ones were at $99 on all of them. On the which one was that? So yeah, the 10 by 15s were at $99 a month, and the 10 by 10s were at 70. Well, they averaged at $75 a month. So
Yeah, so based off of that, then to me, this is a good deal. I would
yeah.
then I would make an offer on it.
Now, how would you make your offer? I mean, would you say, okay, he's asking for what, 800,000? So now how do you actually go and make an offer? Do you make an offer at that amount, or do you just, I mean,
So what I'm trying to do, right? So I'm determining how much income I can get this up to,
mhm,
and then uh I'm basing it off of that, like a cap rate based off of the projected income that I can get this up to within the next 12 to 18 months.
okay,
So you said that like the 45 could be like 70, 75,
hmm,
and
yeah, and
then the ones
let me,
that were 60 were like 99.
yeah,
So you're talking about going from, so we said it was like 5,300. Yeah, see that number. So 5,300, because that's not even like doubling the rents. It's probably going from 45 to 75, probably times, well, it's 70%. So times 1.7, 9,000 times 12. And so based off of like just a quick math that I did, um, it looks like I can get like the NOI up to around like 70,000.
okay. Let's see. So, and I know he, oh, there it is. Look at, because I just, he did go into the, where is it? Crap, where's my, there it is. Yeah, to the underwriting. I'm just using his just because he had it. In the
Yeah.
underwriting, um, yeah, and at the bottom there, the competition, that's where he had it.
Okay. Oh, so all comparable facilities are 100% occupied. So that's great news.
You see, those are smaller units. So in comparison to our units,
Yeah, because these are all 10 by 10, and the ones that he's referring to is 10 by 12.
right?
Yeah, so now the other variable like with these would be just like literally the look of them,
Okay.
right? Like if these ones that are like 80 are not necessarily like brand new, right? But like they're newer looking compared to ours that looked old as fuck. It's like kind of like comparing it to a house that was rehabbed 5 years ago
Yeah.
compared to like a grandmom's house. They're
Yeah.
both 10 by 10 or 10 by 20s, but they look a lot different, in appearance. They
Yeah.
both do what they need to do, but how they look is going to impact like market rates. Now,
Okay.
with that being said, it's not like, and like, as long as there's not a huge discrepancy within like the style slash condition, like there's not going to be that big of a discrepancy like in the rent. Like maybe like ours is a little bit older and they're only going to get 70, compared to the 80.
Right.
um
Because I'm looking at this now. I'm like, I mean, even the 5 by 10, which are way smaller, are still more than the 10 by 12. Even if they did look crappy, I mean, it's a 50. They got $57 that they're getting per month.
yeah,
But
just
okay,
one thing, just to touch on that, just it was a good thing that you brought that up, but the you get significantly higher per square foot with the lower size. As you go
mm,
up, the rent per square foot goes down. So you'll
okay,
literally always get more per square foot for a 5 by 10 than a 10 by 10. You will get more per square foot for a 10 by 10 than a 10 by 20, and so on and so forth. As you go up in size, you go down in rent per square foot.
okay.
So
All right.
just something you brought that up, so it just kind of made me think about that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, with even with that being said, um, they're getting 80 for a 10 by 10. This is an extra 20 square feet. So, you know, getting 70 to 80, getting 70 to 80 bucks shouldn't be a problem whatsoever.
Right. Okay. And so I was looking at, again, because he said, he pretty much kind of did all the due diligence on his own. And I was just like, okay, well, let me just check this to help my so God, oh, there we go. So the income, yeah, there it is. Yeah. Go under the income tab. So yeah, it's showing, yeah, well, what did we come up with there? $5,335. Uh, and what did you say the NOI? We could potentially get that up to,
Roughly 70 grand, I said.
okay,
And they have it at like 72 to 76.
yeah,
Yeah, so something like that, like I would want to like I wouldn't be surprised if somebody paid like right around 800 grand for it, but I would like the people that I'm working with, we're trying to get it pretty much stabilized at like a 10 cap or greater.
okay,
Like I wouldn't be surprised if like a bank would value something like this at like a 9 cap.
okay,
So think of it like that, right? If a bank was going to place a value on it at a 9 cap and you got it at a 9 cap, you're into it for 100% of the value of the asset,
mhm,
right? So like no different than a house, you kind of want to be on in 70 cents on the dollar. It
right,
appraises for 100, you want to be in it for 70. Like you don't want to be into it for the market cap rate. The market cap rate is the after repair value.
right, okay,
So like you have to kind of create like in essence like almost like a 2 point spread. Like if they're going to value it at a 9, you be at 11, now you're into it for like 70 75 cents on the dollar.
mm, okay,
And let me kind of break that down like with a math problem. But so just we'll assume that the income is 72,021. So 72,021 divided by 0.09. That means if a bank valued it at a 9 cap, it would be
yeah,
worth $800,000.
right.
72,021 divided by 0.11. That's 654,000. What did I do there? That should have been a
654,736.
yeah. So like that's the number we would want to be into it for, like that 650 number.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? 650,
654, 655,
800,000. Yeah, that's pretty much like 80%. So like now you have some like built-in equity. But like that's kind of how it will work. You'd want to kind of like whatever,
oh, okay, okay,
right? So like if you got it at an 11 and a half cap, like then it would probably be 75 cents on the dollar ish. But that's kind of how it works in that. Like, right? Like you have the after repair value of a house, you want to be 70 cents on the dollar. Well, it's same shit, different toilet with these. But if the market cap rate's 7, you need to kind of get it at like a 9 to be able to do a cash out refi and get the money back. Or you're going to have money, left in the asset.
so okay, so in theory, well, in theory, but what you do is you basically see what the current income and what the current NOI is, and then see what we are able to get it to by our value add, being that we're increasing occupancy, increasing rates, or even a build out, whatever the value add is, or either all three, whatever. Then do it at that particular amount within a 12 to 24 month period, So for instance, if we were going to increase the occupancy, then see what that would be in the 12 to 24 month period, what the NOI would be. Then take that and
If
whatever
you,
the current, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, if you took that, the future net operating income divided by the market cap rate, which is just like a kind of a guesstimate, it's a hypothesis, I should say, not a guesstimate.
Okay.
But that's how you determine that.
Okay. All right. All right. And this is being recorded, so
Yeah,
I
yeah. I'll share this with you, and I'm going to keep this kind of in the files.
okay. Yeah, this is good. Okay, so in theory, what I would do at this point, if I was to make an offer on this, uh, again, I'm just thinking
And I
from
would
the
say like this. So if I was going to make a cash offer on this one, I probably would have started like around, and again, this with a wholesaler, sometimes I'll treat it a little bit different. So I don't like sour the wholesaler like relationship.
yeah.
But if it was a seller, I would have offered probably 650 grand.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad you said that because I'm like, okay, but he's a wholesaler, so
Yeah, like so now I'd probably wouldn't want to start with a six. Like I'd probably started like 700 grand and justify why I would need it at that price. And that
yeah,
would be a cash offer, right?
right.
It's creative. So I'd probably even would start a little bit higher than a seven because, you know, given the fact that trying to think how to verbalize this, you don't have to raise as much like
Yeah, I got you.
capital and give out as much equity to others, right? So you can pay a little bit more because you get to keep that equity for yourself.
Exactly. I got
And
you.
there's less capital like out of pocket that's needed. So like
Oh,
the cash on cash return is also significantly going to be greater like in this scenario, right? Because you don't need 800,000, whatever the purchase price is, it's only 35% of that or whatever. It's not 100% of it.
so let me ask you this: in the particular scenario now, being that it is a creative deal, and again, what you're stating, the cash out of pocket that's needed is not as significant. What about the cash that will be needed? Do we ask for the cash that's needed to do the upgrades to this, and included in that, if you were getting a private lender to be able to lend you the funds for this particular creative deal?
Yeah, yeah, I would get it like kind of in one lump sum, the down payment and whatever. Like this one isn't really like a build out, but like you need 50 to 100 grand to fix some the fuck are they called? It's like slipping my mind now, but like the things you got to like lift up to get into the
Oh,
storage.
these are about the gates and
Yeah, the gates. You might have to replace gates or do some type of painting or put some type
yeah,
of fencing
and
up.
and
So
this
like,
one does. Okay, so all right. So let's just say, for instance, you're making an offer of 750, okay,
yeah,
on this particular one. And I'm just again, I'm running this through my thinking because so I got a guy who will lend me, uh, uh, you know, he'll lend me the money on this deal. And so in my 750, obviously I'm putting down say 20% of that, uh
that'd be 150.
150. So my down payment would be the 150, and then I would need to be borrowing, say it took another 50K to just fix the doors and all this kind of painted and all. So I should be borrowing at least 200 and whatever the closing
Yeah,
cost
I
is.
was gonna say I'd probably borrow like two and a quarter, like to
Yeah.
cover the down payment, the stuff that you need to do to the facility, and then like closing costs.
Wow. Okay. All right. Hmm. All right.
And then
Now,
you have like a 600K note, and then the objective would be to get the rents up, put the money into it, get the rents up, and then like within the next 18 to 24 months, now you go to a bank and refi it, cash out the seller, the private lender,
yeah.
and rinse and repeat. Like no different than a traditional burr.
So take a look, if you don't mind, at the cash flow, just to kind of, I think that's kind of what. So he was saying cash flow and ROI cap rate is at 9.5. So purchase price 800,000, loan amount 440. And again, this is obviously based upon his numbers. Interest rate 6. So that first year, based upon his performer, he's saying that we should be able to get uh, it from up to 92,000 annually. Additional fees, because he said there's no additional fees, there's no, insurance or any of that stuff being charged.
Yeah, and then just kind of a side note, like there's a lot of stuff, and again, like I'm not like even hip to it because it's more of an operational thing, but there's a lot of add-ons with storage that you can charge people to make more to increase the bottom line
Yeah,
without literally doing anything. Like for one, like making people get insurance.
yeah.
You can
I've
connect with like an insurance company and you literally get 50% of like whatever the fucking insurance is.
yeah, I've even found a company that actually will pay you 70%
Yeah.
from storage. So they,
Selling
70%.
like getting like machines like so like if you have a facility like this facility for instance like you wouldn't need somebody to physically man it.
Yeah,
Everything can be done from afar, but you could actually get like a vending machine type of thing that you could sell locks out of.
yeah.
Like so there's just like little like things that you can do from an operational standpoint to increase the NOI like even more. And the more you can the higher the NOI, the higher the value of the asset. So anything you can do to slightly increase revenue or slightly decrease expenses, just increases the value of the asset.
So that's what I was looking at. I was just checking it out. So he's got, like I said, the annual rents of 92,000. The additional fees from, like I said, just added stuff, selling locks and stuff is like 15K, which gives it 107,000. Then 30% um, expense ratio, which I think I remember seeing you on the first call. You said you
35%
got
is really what you
35.
should be
Yeah, I
using.
was getting ready. Yeah, that's when I saw you like, okay, you do
But
35.
it's so if somebody when I do that, like I'm kind of factoring in 100% of occupancy.
Okay. All
So
right.
when somebody takes out the occupancy and then uses a lower expense ratio, it kind of evens itself out.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And you're doing
Because the
okay. So you
35%, because the 35% that I'm using includes vacancy, like in the
okay.
35%. They're almost accounting for the vacancy separately and then using 30% as an expense ratio.
I got you.
So same
Okay.
shit, different toilet.
Gotcha. I got you. So okay. Um, man, this would have. I'm gonna still call on this guy just to see him.
Yeah, no, definitely do. Because like I said, that guy, I've seen him post like multiple stuff. So yeah, hit him up see if it's available. And if not, just tell him like, hey, I'm looking for more opportunities. And to
Okay.
me, I'm telling you, like too, especially, you know, offering people like equity, especially like if you're buying it, like to say, look, if you can give me something, whatever fee you make, I'll give you 5% equity in it. People will be motivated to bring you a deal before they bring it to somebody else.
Okay.
And again, the 5%, in the grand scheme of things, it's like nothing. It'll be well worth it to give up 5% to someone that can bring you more opportunities that aren't costing you to bring them.
Absolutely. So Frank, to help me get to the guy, because obviously this guy, whoever this guy working with or whoever, is finding these individuals, because this would have been a slam dunk deal to get from the owner. From what I listened to the entire video, and he was like, it was actually an owner that was not managing it well, and he passed last year. Then the family got it. They really don't care anything, which is why the they owe $85,000. They don't really care anything about it. They just been taking the money from it. So to get someone on the phone like that who has a potential gold mine, we would have offered. He may have actually did that. He probably got it at 600 some thousand
Yeah,
dollars.
I would have offered way less than that, to be honest. Well,
Yeah,
so like I'm saying I would have offered that, but I'm
that
not
was
thinking that like the actual income was only at like 5,000 a month.
yeah,
So that's what I'm making my offer off of, 5,000 a month. When you deal with the seller, you're making an offer of what's happening today. When you
today.
deal with
Okay,
the buyer, you're selling what could happen in the future. but like you kind of want to take the stance like, hey, like I'm not quite sure, I can't bank on kind of doing that. I got to deal with what's reality, not what may or may not happen in the future.
Exactly. So at 5,000 a
So I
month,
would have
it,
literally started at like 400 grand.
yeah. Okay. Wow.
And I guarantee fucking to you, now who knows what the guy got it for, but I guarantee you that if they were like letting that money accumulate like that, they would have taken the 400 and some. There's
Yeah.
no, I bet you do got this for like less than 500 and like five something.
Man, that, oh man. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why like the percentage of his down payment is what it is. He's probably um, factoring in his big fee into the down payment.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's so that's the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, I'm like, okay, I know I can do this. I know I can
Yeah, I'm
get
telling you, and then you've already done it. You just haven't done it with this type of property. Like
right.
you've already done this stuff before,
Yeah. And I'm looking like, man, that's a huge fee. Well, and I guess the benefit of it is that, like you just stated, just doing this at this asset class, because I know I can do it. But even what you're saying now, man, that's amazing. And then having a fee like that changes everything for because now I'm able to put myself in positions to be able to now find deals like this and be able to finance a little bit of my own money, but then raise capital from other because I got other individuals who are wanting to use their funds to be able to invest with me on these. All right. So
Yeah,
let's
and like I've said to you and like everyone else, like the sweet thing about these is like you can make good money doing two of them a year.
yeah,
You do like one a quarter, you can make really fucking good money.
yeah.
And if you did like 8 to 12 a year, you can literally make 500 to a million or more.
Yeah, I mean that 6 month when you told me it's like 900K in 6 months. I mean, it's been ringing in my ear. And again, not so well. And just transparency. It's not so much the money per se. It's it's knowing that I can actually do this to produce it. If that
Yeah.
makes sense, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, no,
okay,
100%. It's like, like I said, this is not, it's like it's not like once we get through it all, right, and you get one closed, you're gonna look back and be like, damn, this was actually really similar to what I've been doing for like a
yeah,
long
yeah,
time. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
exactly. All right,
there's
okay,
always that like kind of like, fear of the unknown, like you haven't done it yet, but like once you do, you're gonna be like, holy shit. Like I like the
yeah,
first one I closed, I was like, I said that was the same shit I've been doing for like the last decade, but like
right.
I've never
It's
seen
just
that.
just
I've
a
never
bigger
seen
profit.
I've never been to Piqua, Ohio, and just made a nice ass fee on an apartment building.
Hey, so let me ask you this: since you made that statement, what do you do as far as site visits for these that are out of state? Do you actually go to them, or do you hire somebody to go to them, or what? What's the deal there?
So I at all costs try to not go to them.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. I flew to Florida and looked at a facility that I didn't even end up getting. I flew to Georgia, same shit. But I went to New York for like the Grand Slam that I did, and that was specifically because I knew it was a Grand Slam. But
right.
no, like I'm by all means not trying to go check it out.
You
So
sound
like
just like
so,
me.
and I've been wholesaling, in the game a while, and I have an online presence. So if it's so my first thing is I'm posting on social media and seeing if I know someone that knows someone that can go
Right,
check this out. And obviously I'm going to pay them for their time.
right,
If I'm not able to find someone that I know or that I know someone that knows someone, I'm literally just like this facility I have now. I literally just went online. What the fuck is it? It's in Adele, Georgia. So I just Googled real estate agents in Adele, Georgia. Just started calling real estate agents, and I just said, "Hey, I said, I'm a real estate investor, in the Pennsylvania market. I'm in the process of purchasing a warehouse, in Adele. I was hoping, I'm just reaching out to see if you could potentially go take some pictures for me. And you know, if you can give me your opinion on the value of it. And honestly,
Yeah,
like most people just say, yeah, like it's honestly like rare where people are like, no, I'm not going to be willing to do that.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. And the reason why I guess, and you don't know me, but you'll learn, I'm so we in that particular space, I'm like, man, dude, you're talking to a guy who did his first wholesale deal 9 years ago, and I never left his computer at
Mm,
all. I mean, I literally my first deal was a 7K JV split, and I I was good at finding buyers, and I just that was just a knack that I had when I because I didn't know what I was doing. But we ended up wholesaling a property here in Memphis. Um, I never met the seller. Oh well, actually, it was another wholesaler who couldn't find buyers. He had the deal. I brought the buyer. The buyer was an Indian dude that lived in Australia who
mm.
was flipping a house in Memphis from Australia. And I never left my computer. I literally did everything on my computer and never I didn't even see the house
Yeah.
until 6 months after he renovated and made $3,500. And I'm like, what? I didn't even leave. So
You can literally
my,
do the same thing with this stuff.
yeah, and primarily my business has been on. I mean, I before COVID, I've done everything from right here. I didn't get out, you know. I would drive and look at the property on Google Maps. Some of them I would go out to periodically, but for 70% of them, I did everything right here. So that's why
You
I'm
know,
like,
same. Like
okay,
I probably transitioned to now. I had a local team. Like I haven't been super involved in any particular role in years. Um, I've never had an operations person, so I've always had my hand in all of them a little bit. But I generally like I'm not negotiating. I'm not looking at the properties. But like when I linked up with my mentor Mark Evans, like I would always, you know, negotiate on the phone and try to go look at the property after I looked at the property, lock it up. Well, he was like, how many opportunities do you lose out by like going to look at the property
yep,
scheduling? So like now, like back in 2018, I kind of pivoted where I'll get the agreement of sale signed before we ever like went to go look at the property, and then I would just have like a runner go look at the property.
yep,
Same thing now, like I'm getting the agreement of sale signed on these larger assets before we go do a site inspection, before we verify any financial information. So it's kind of like
okay,
a similar like type of model.
okay, all right. So I appreciate it because you are doing exactly what I'm able to do with other individuals, being able to relate the current situation with what I'm going to now, and even with what you've been saying to me now, it's just kind of like, okay, all right. So I do the exact same thing here. Okay. Um, Man, this is good. Okay, so lastly, I'll do this, and I will because my wife wants me to come meet her for lunch. Um, if okay, so at $5,000, let's just I wanted to just kind of see what we would do at a $5,000 valuation, at least where it is currently. How do you go about actually doing that again? Just I wanted to do it from the $5,000 stance. Now we were doing it from 70, what was it, 7,000 a month?
Yeah, so I'm honestly always trying to get like a 10 cap or greater.
Always trying to get 10 capital grade. Okay.
Um, so it's like the way that I look at it, like if you can acquire something like as it sits, especially like not even factoring in the value add at like a 10 cap or slightly more, it's like almost impossible to kind of go wrong there, right? So I'm starting that four number. It was like 5230 a month times 12, 62,760 times 0.65. Yeah, 40,794. So that's kind of how I was starting with the because at 400 grand, you're getting it as a 10 cap as it sits, really good price per square foot, and you know that there's a value add.
Right.
And just because we already did the analysis, we know that there's a significant value add. Like where in
Absolutely.
reality, we're starting at four, but we could go as high as six something, 700
Mhm.
grand.
Okay.
And I'm
That's
always trying to, and this is, same with the residential space, but I'm always trying to get the seller to give me a number first.
Exactly. Right.
Because like it just, you just don't know what you don't know. Like they're, a number in your mind, you're thinking, oh shit, like that could be low as hell. And it's high as shit in their mind.
Exactly. Right. Okay. Yeah. And see, I'm looking at this. Obviously, I was looking at this one trying to think from the standpoint of a seller, but see, this is the wholesaler that we're dealing with. So, from the seller's perspective, that would, yeah, 400K, uh, man, and then he's selling it for. Now, when you sell it, obviously, okay, you said, and you sell it on a pro forma basis with the buyer, or the potential of what it can actually make with the
Yeah.
buyer.
Yeah. When
Okay,
you're selling it, like now you're painting a picture of like, hey, this is what you have to do. And this is the value, once you do that. And
right.
you're kind of like, 90% occupancy, at these market rates will get you this, cap rate.
And basically, what he's doing right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Like this is honestly like his pitch deck, like it's and his underwriting, like it's great. It's honestly like I don't like fucking supply all of this stuff. Like when I pitch,
Yeah,
yeah, like,
he's got everything. He
yeah,
actually, I mean, he's even done the site analysis. He went and had uh, uh what was it?
phase one done, I think he said, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's pretty much got it all out. So, um, which I mean, I guess it helps you to make your decision, quite fast. Okay. Well, man, this has been extremely helpful, and I hope this would be something that we could use to for the other guys, because this has really been uh, enlightening. It lets me know now. Okay, I can see as far as a quick analysis, especially dealing with a seller, um, what I need to look for on the front end to be able to make our offer. And then actually make the offer. What do you do? Is it a letter of intent? How is the offer made?
No different than the houses. Like I just make a verbal offer. Now sometimes a seller will say, like they want to put it in writing, like
Right.
where they don't even really want to hear the offer, like they just want to get like a letter of intent. Some people just like, negotiating over the phone until you agree on price, no different than a house. And some people want you to send, like an agreement of sale, like a written offer that's actually like on an agreement of sale as opposed to just a letter of intent.
Okay.
But like, so like I am reactionary in that situation, like to a seller, but I'm proactively negotiating like verbally. And if and when they agree on price, I'm sending them an agreement of sale to sign. Like that is my intentions, unless the seller kind of doesn't allow that to happen.
And one of the things you mentioned, which was my initial thought when I first made the decision to try to go here, is that these particular sellers are so much more astute than home buyers. But I guess that's a fallacy. These are just individuals, obviously,
No,
just like,
no, now don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that none of them are, but like
yeah,
it's definitely not like a, something that we should be focusing on or thinking about prior to the conversation. I'm more reacting to it in real time if that happens, not assuming like, oh, these people are super sophisticated and educated. Like, no,
yeah,
it's just, I'm going in just, hey, I'm looking for a person that wants to sell a property. Like no
period, point blank.
preconceived notions. Like from a mindset perspective, no different than a house.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I've actually kind of retrained my thinking in that, when I heard you say it, I was like, why am I getting all bent out of shape about this? It's like I said, it's just buying a bigger asset. That's it.
Yeah, and it's
So,
just a perception. Like it's just a matter of like just changing your perception slightly about it, right? Like it's like we have a perception, and again, myself included, where it was like, oh, like this is going to be like so different, and these people are going to be so different, and there's going to be stuff that comes up. Like no, like none of that stuff was actually true.
all right. Now, I know I remember you putting on, you letting us know, at least in the first meeting, and I know you're going to go through this, so I don't want to, draw this out, but pulling leads to find these particular sellers. I think you went to Reonomy or something like that.
Yeah, that's actually like the what we're gonna go over to tomorrow.
Okay,
And I
good.
and I think it's gonna actually be 12:30 instead of 12 tomorrow, just because I kind of forgot about something I had from 11 to 12. But
Okay,
tomorrow we're gonna be going over like marketing and data. So like where to pull the list. But yeah, I got data. I get my data from Reonomy. I've gotten data from CoStar. I did not like CoStar like at all. I just really didn't feel that
okay,
it was comparable, like in terms of quality or just like results.
yeah.
Um, and there's one other like place I was going to attempt to get data from. It's called Crexi,
Oh yeah,
CREXI. Crexi is something that I utilize to look at like warehouse comps to kind of see what market rates are, but it's not
yeah.
something.
I get emails from. I mean, I signed up for them. And I've been getting emails from them like
Yeah, and
every
you can
freaking
like
day.
list properties on Crexi and stuff like that. So it's like it does multiple things, but it is like also like a data provider. But I'm just always of the mindset if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I know Reonomy is quality.
Okay,
So like I highly recommend that.
okay. So and that is would and I know like so we'll talk about it tomorrow, but that would be because obviously just like with the houses, you can get crappy data or you can get high end data, or I should say a little more quality data. And I really want to start out the gate. Me and Jimmy start out the gate with getting some quality data because we've actually done better with the quality data, although I've made some good money with some crappy data. It was just that I
Yeah.
had to farm through
Do more
more.
marketing to get it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. Well, Frank, man, I again, I appreciate you taking your time out to help me with this quick analysis and looking over this. Um, I am getting these from individuals, and I did exactly that. I checked with a lot of people on Facebook, and they're sending out like a girl hit me up the other day asking me, wanted to buy some more storage, and obviously they're doing the exact same thing. But I want to be on the talking with the seller in and getting these things contracted, so I can continue to start sending some of these deals out. So I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
This,
tomorrow, like my goal, and again, like I'm gonna like just talk to everybody about it tomorrow, but like we're gonna go over like data and marketing in detail tomorrow.
yeah,
And I guess and then the next topic we're going to be going over is like sales and acquisitions and analysis.
okay,
So I was kind of thinking of having a few day gap between the marketing and data. That way, give you guys, a couple of days or so to actually make sure you're going and getting the data, and then do some marketing or start some
yeah,
marketing. But
yeah. I
we'll
actually,
talk about it more like on the call tomorrow. But like I said, tomorrow
okay.
we're going to go in depth of about data and marketing.
Okay. Well, like I said, I appreciate this. I know I did sign up Rihanna for Reonomy when we had that initial talk when you talked with everybody about you doing this, and I got several emails though. I can sign up for the 7 day free trial again, but it was pretty uh, uh, good information that I pulled. I didn't even pull anything. I was just looking at it. I'm like, wow, this is
Yeah.
kind of extensive.
Yeah, and it's
So
honestly like I don't even like because I'm not like a systems and operations guy. Like I don't usually maximize efficiency on anything. Like just not me. But like Reonomy even has like if you're in the system, like you can actually and you pull a data set, you can like kind of click on each one and there's telephone numbers in there.
yeah,
There's like secondary owners. Like you can
yeah,
see
that's what I saw.
how
That's what I
much.
thought you were getting the information from.
Yeah, no, I honestly don't even export. And again, it's just because I haven't done it, and then I don't even do the exporting personally myself. But
Right.
like, I don't even export like those telephone numbers.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, like I have always just kind of skip traced it, from a third party like service that I've done for years.
Yeah, I just let go of I'm gonna have to re up with uh God dog it, my skip tracing. God dog it. I just I guess I'll go ahead and get them back on not TLO, the other one. Crap. Uh
LexisNexis?
no, it's the other good one that's God dog it, what is I cannot remember now. Let me see. Um, I mean, it gave you every freaking thing too. Oh crap! I'll find them. I can't. I literally just about 2 months ago because I downsized everything, and and I was like I was paying like $800 a month for them, but I had unlimited access to full.
Twilio or something?
Hold on, I'll find it. Hold on, because
Yeah, I can like I have like a Connect overseas, and I literally only use this Connect for fucking I don't know 4 or 5 years now. Like I've not gotten any
really
other stuff skip traced, and I can get you like I get even this stuff skip traced with lots of LLCs and get the numbers. And I can get it to you for 7 cents a lead.
okay, all right, that may be
But no, if you're getting Reonomy too, and I got to fucking even try it myself, but like try exporting the telephone numbers and
Yeah, I mean, again, I just thought that was like, man, okay, he's got phone numbers here, and shoot, that's man, what is what I'm finding it. Where am my data information? Because I had once I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, well, shoot, that kind of helps on the data pool, um, and if you really don't have to go outside of doing the skip tracing company per se. If you don't necessarily, if you got all the information right there, where's her man? I'm drawing a blank now, and I'm trying to find it, but I'll find it once I find it out. I'll let you know
yeah, just let
who
me
it
know.
is because oh, you know what? Let me see. Analytics data. No, that was for uh uh. I know I had it in here. Did you find or know of any other well, I did check with the company that I was getting data from my single family. They said that they didn't do anything for industrial. So
Well, prop stream, I haven't pulled it from prop stream. I'll pull it up. Like I still got prop stream,
yeah, I still use PropStream too.
but and I haven't done this, but there's industrial data within prop stream.
Really? Okay. Well, I'll have my what's it called? And actually, Jimmy's been my acquisition manager on the uh, a single family side. So he does all of that. As a matter of fact, that's kind of what he's really good at. And then he's good at negotiating the deals. So that's kind of what how we're gonna partner up. He's gonna really kind of pull a lot of that information and negotiate. And I'm good at the operations side, getting all this stuff together. So we just kind of partnered up. And I'm like, listen, you know, why not we just utilize our strengths together and utilize this. I just hold on here. Oh, you know what? I know where it is. Okay, because I just lost my train of thought. Bookmarks, boom, boom, boom. Other bookmarks, real estate.
All right, yeah. So right here, I don't
Let
think
me see.
that's, let me share my screen with you again.
Oh, yeah. Uh,
Yeah, they have like property classifications, industrial.
yeah, yeah. I guess it does. Again, never even thought to even look.
But I didn't
Yeah.
I've never pulled data like from here. Like I
Have you
don't
pulled it on the single family side?
no, no, yeah, yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say I haven't pulled it. I haven't pulled it with the larger assets. I
Okay,
haven't
okay,
pulled anything
okay.
from here.
Yeah. Okay.
But like I don't
Yeah.
even see them having a category. Like they have cold storage. Let me see.
Cold storage. Is that like freezers or something like that?
Um, Cold storage is like yeah, it can be freezers, but it's also um like flex space like can be considered like
Oh
cold
yeah.
storage.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Uh,
So yeah, you can definitely try messing it around like on there.
yeah, I'm
I just
gonna.
didn't really see anything specifically for like self-storage, but like light industrial, for example, like most self-storage is under light industrial zoning. So like
Okay.
there's like the light industrial, like I said, like there's a storage yard, shipyard storage, warehouses. So
Okay. Yeah, that'll help, and I can utilize that just to pull some additional data since I'm already paying for that. That's good to know. Oh man, I cannot believe I'm not
yeah,
finding.
so and I would just say too, just kind of especially with self-storage in particular, like there's not a significant amount of them in the United States of America where
Mhm.
where it's okay to kind of go a little bit wider if you're only going to focus on like self-storage. So any and all data you can get, market to it.
Yeah,
Um,
and that was what I was doing. I mean, when you said that the other day, I was like, okay, I don't want to limit myself. I'm just looking at. I'm primarily looking at that, obviously, for I mean not occupancy, but having it as an operation. But I want to do industrial. I mean, wherever we
yeah, I'm
can.
telling you, because like there's a deal that we sent out let me pull it up and I'll show it to you. Like we just sent out a contract yesterday. Fucking name. Here it is.
That's
But this
kind
is it's like 105,000 net rentable square feet of like warehouse slash flex space. It's like 8 sections, 7 paying tenants, and then the seller uses about 30,000 square feet. We sent out the contract for 2.9 million.
right. So you're getting it locked up for 2.9. What are you planning on selling it
I'm just trying to find them. Yeah, so it's currently bringing in
for?
So it's currently bringing in 32 a month. As soon as we close, the seller is going to be for 6 to 12 months. The seller will pay 3,000 a month for like 30,000 square feet of space, which is like way under market.
Hmm.
So the play is, close on it at the 35,000 a month, 35,000 times 12, 420 times 0.7. So the NOI when we close should be like 294.
Okay.
So we're getting it pretty much at, a 10 cap.
All right.
And then once we actually get the tenant, the seller is not gonna once the seller is like out, and then we can, that market rent for that size, it's, you know,
Now, what happens with the tenants? All of the tenants that stay, they're still staying.
yeah, 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 yep. And then even like there's an opportunity to like raise some of the rents there.
Okay. Wow.
And it's not like drastically, um, but like if you can get like a large asset like this at like an 11 or a 12 cap, like that's like really, really good. Any
Yeah.
asset really, but like one in particular, like that's like over 100,000 square feet. And the guy just put like $700,000 into it in the last couple of years.
Mm. So you're getting it at a 10 cap.
Yeah, I'm getting it as a 10 cap as it sits. There's like a value add by increasing the rents. And then um I don't think that there's like a significant build out component, but I think there is some like land not being utilized that you can utilize. So I'm just trying to, I usually will look at it on prop stream to kind of look at an aerial view of it.
Yeah. Okay.
This is actually
And
multiple addresses. So
and this is an industrial asset.
yes, yep. So this
Wow.
is like what's considered flex space,
Okay.
which is just a big ass warehouse, which is like 105,000 square feet, broken up into like 8 or 9 different sections.
Okay. Yeah.
So it looks like this is kind of like the site. So there's definitely like land not being utilized.
Wow. That's a lot too. So I mean, there's value add opportunity there all day. Huh.
Yeah, so something like this, even if so I'd have to I gotta like project and see like how much of the how much more you can get that like rent up to, but you could probably get it up to like conservatively like 38,000 a month times 12 times 0.7. So that's like you should be able to get the net up to like 319.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably start marketing. So 319 divided by
So you're
319
not
divided by a 9 cap
nine
is
cap. I was going to ask you doing it at nine. Okay.
yeah, that's 3.5 million. So that's
Yeah.
probably where I would around where I would start marketing this at 3.5 million bucks.
Wow. Ooh, man, that's ooh. And that being
And I can and just I'd be surprised if I couldn't get at least like around like 3.2, like right around that number for it.
hmm, yeah. And you got it locked up for 2.7,
2.9 actually.
2.9. Yeah.
Yeah, but even if I get three, 3.1 is 200 grand, 3.2 is
Yeah.
three. Shit, if I get 3.5, that's fucking six.
Yeah. Jeez. Like I said, one a quarter. That's crazy, yo. That's crazy. Wow. All right. Okay. It's now let me ask you this. With that particular deal, how long as far as you was that a deal that just come in, been what, 6 months?
No, I'll
How
tell
long?
you. Yeah, this is actually like an older lead that we kind of like brought back to life. So we originally this lead came in 8 months ago.
Mhm. Wow.
Um, it was an SMS text message lead 8 months ago. They kind of were ghosting us for a while. Um, we got some information on them like 6, 7 months ago, like a month after it came in.
Yeah. Follow up is key.
And then, yeah, I can't stress that enough. So we actually like this came in again a second time. Like the first time we got it through SMS, but then 6 months ago, like it was actually like a cold call lead, which shouldn't have happened because we should have removed it so we weren't cold calling it, but
Exactly.
it happens. But yeah, like they kind of started ghosting us for a while, and then my sales guy got him back on the phone a week ago.
Hmm. You're locking it up now. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. That's amazing. I can see the potential in doing, and even like I said, just, you know, yeah, I see the huge potential in uh, having the knowledge of being able to do it and just potentially just kind of Even like I said, and
Yeah,
I'm
and so this particular deal, like, see, like my sales guy, he kind of got anxious because he saw that it was a good cap rate.
mhm.
Um, he texted me about this, and I kind of told him, like, he didn't tell me that the seller's like initial asking price was $3 million. He was like, told me, he was like, yeah, I know I can get it for like 2.9, like 3 million bucks. um, the seller's initial asking price was $3 million. Let me see where, because I don't think that I told him to make an offer. I'm just trying to like look in the notes. I can't really find it, but the
That's
point that I was going to make is I'm pretty confident we could have got this for cheaper.
then the 2.9.
Yeah, yeah. I'd stake my life on it that if I was negotiating this, I would have gotten it for cheaper than 2.9 million bucks.
So you mean to tell me your VA did the negotiation on this one?
Yeah, I never talked to the seller. I never talked to the sellers.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll let you. I gotta. I'll have to log in a call rail. I'll let you guys, when we're not tomorrow when we do the data and marketing stuff, but when
Yeah.
the next kind of class, which will be on like sales and analysis, like
Yeah.
we'll listen to some calls.
Okay. Yeah. That would be that would be good. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And I want to stress this because people always like, oh, like you just hired a VA that like I didn't just hire somebody. Like I've spent a
Yeah.
significant amount of my time training him.
Yeah. Like I said, I got a young lady who's been with me for 4 years, and she's in Nicaragua. As a matter of fact, she went to college in Arizona,
Mm.
and but she's from Nicaragua, and then she moved back down there. So she sounds like Valley girl, California, and then she speaks Spanish too. So and she's been working with me. I've had her in all states, but now I told her to be prepared because we're going to get her trained to be able to negotiate with these sellers. Um, so, God, oh, man. But like I said, I can get her molded. She'll do.
Yeah, trust me, it's not that it's not like it's not a difficult transition like internally to make the this transition. Like it's not, in terms of lead management, right? Like you're still building a rapport, you know,
Right.
it's all of that's the same, it's just different set of questions.
Okay.
And then even just from like a sales and negotiating standpoint, it's just, your objective is to, you know, while the pain, like it's usually not a pain point, it's more of a pleasure, oh, I want to sell and move with my kids or whatever. But you focus on that. Like, hey,
Yeah.
are you gonna like let like $100,000 like prevent you from moving with your kids and getting all that extra time with your grandkids?
Yeah.
You're making it emotional to them.
Right.
But yeah, it's like I said, I tell
The
everybody,
mechanics are the same.
yeah, like
Primarily.
70% of it's the same. Like, and from a sales and marketing standpoint, it's even more. Like the big difference is what we're kind of going over. The analysis part is way different to analyze one of these than to do a house. The due diligence is like way different. And then just kind of like the timeline from like, contract to closing and even just from lead to getting a contract is like that is different. But sales and marketing, like from that standpoint, it's almost exactly the same.
Okay. Um, is there a particular budget that we need to set aside as far as getting the data and all that kind of stuff on a monthly basis?
Well, the
Uh,
data, so the
or what does it look like? I mean, what does it look like, in real time as far as a monthly expense, if you will?
yeah, so the Reonomy, I got to double check what I pay. I want to say I pay like $300 or $400 a month, and I'm able to pull 4,000 new records every single month.
Okay.
Um, I just actually like reached out to them like to ask them if I could like increase like how much like I can pull. And they said, I think they said pretty much every thousand more I pull, it's like an extra 100 hours.
Mm, okay.
Um, but you don't have to kind of pull all the data all at once. Like you can kind of work your way up to having more data over the course of, 3 or 4 months, and
Okay.
if you're doing that, like then you can just, while the list is smaller, do more marketing channels, right? Like maybe you're not in a position to send 10,000 pieces of mail once the list is 10,000 pieces, but maybe you just get 2,000 pulls a month. And now the first 2,000 you pull, you can hit that with all marketing channels, right?
Okay.
You hit it with, RBMs, cold calling, and send direct mail to it.
What's been your more profitable method of marketing? RVMs, cold calling, or direct
SMS is
mail?
definitely has been like like the best for me. Um, and like I haven't really gotten back into doing it yet, but I do believe that direct mail will be the most profitable one. But I'm still going to continue to do RBMs and cold calling as well. But I just feel that like the avatar of the person that we're looking for, in my opinion, is going to be more responsive to mail than other
Yeah.
forms of
Yeah.
marketing. Like,
I can
especially like the more I thought about it, like I'm like I did pretty decent like with the text messaging, and I would say that that's probably like the worst way to communicate with the person that I'm looking for.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
if you think about who we're trying to like who we're looking for, someone that's like looking to retire and cash out, like what style of communication do you think that they're going to be most responsive to? You know, and I just think that like direct mail is going to be a good one. Now, with
Yeah.
that being said, like everyone has different, to me, doing all of the marketing channels, and it's, you know, is the best way to maximize a list. And that doesn't mean that you have to do all of them all at once, all of the time.
Right.
Maybe it's
Just
like
kind of do them in waves, pretty much,
exactly, you
Yeah.
know, exhaust the shit out of the list for like a few weeks
Yeah.
and then send some RBMs. And then after you exhaust it with RBMs and cold calling, now you took the list from 2,000 to 1,500 or whatever, and now you can kind of send some direct mail to it.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Just kind of hit them on each wave.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then to me, as the list grows more and more, and you get to the point where you got like 10, 15, 20,000 leads, like now you're maybe cycling that from like a month at a time, like where it's like, all right, well, hey, right now I'm just going to exhaust the data with cold calling. And then after I get through that, like then I'll hit it with a mail piece.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes, and again, and I guess I'm pretty sure you've actually transitioned in your thinking because I'm like, man, 10,000 leads, in this space is a lot for what we're doing as opposed to, what we were doing at one point in time. So,
Yeah, and
that makes,
definitely, I definitely say like the more data that you get and target and market, it just leads to more opportunities, right? So it's like having the minimal amount is just to kind of get started, and that's going to get you, for lack of a better term, like minimal results, right? Like you're not going to be able to kind of stay on a shoestring budget and target limited data and get
yeah,
to a point where you're doing, 5 or 10 a year. But
yeah,
like having that minimal data and minimal marketing, it'll get you in the game, and then you just want to make sure you're kind of building from there.
mm,
um and like I said, like with the industrial as a whole, like now you can kind of get to a data set of 40, 50 plus thousand records.
mm.
And if you're targeting that and you're, just kind of got everything on point, you know again, to do 4 to 8 deals a year, that's
That's huge. Yeah, that's huge. I um I can see that, and I'm planning this out to be able to.
yeah. Just what I just want to stress is just like, just the consistency, like kind of with the marketing, and just having like just realizing like, hey, I'm not going to have the lead and deal flow that I get, but like I don't need to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And so
I
that
guess
is kind of
that's
like a little bit of a mindset shift where it's
yeah,
like you're so used to kind of being busy and having all of these leads. Like this is a lot different.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
I
Thank
would,
you.
with that being said, I would say it is even more crucial to monetize the monetizable leads because of them being more scarce. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah,
Where like you with houses, right? Like maybe you got 20 closable deals in a month, and if you got 5 of the 20, whatever, you're winning, you're doing good. Well, maybe now with these, you're getting 2 that are closed that you can monetize. So you better make sure you're getting one of them. You know what I mean?
right,
So
right.
like
Okay.
just
Yeah, it
that
makes sense.
follow up becomes more important. That ability to sell becomes more important.
Woo, man. Yeah, I am seeing this tremendously. Um, so
Now I'll
all
go
right.
over another one we just sent out.
Okay. Yeah, let me see.
This is also like flex space.
This is in Ohio, Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati. Yeah, so we sent out the agreement for 1.65. It's currently grossing 22,000 a month. So in essence, we're already getting it at 11 cap.
That's good.
And it's like, I forget the exact square footage. I want to say it's like 50 some thousand square feet.
There it is, 55,000 square feet.
Yeah, there you go.
21,000 a month.
But yeah, like that one, we're getting in like an 11 cap, and it has like a value add to it as well.
Oh, so 21,000.
And the guy actually has like 2 other buildings, like a high rise in Dayton, Ohio, he wants to sell. Like if we can kind of, this plans out.
Yeah. Times 11. No, how do you do that? Okay, so 55,000 times 21,000.
Well,
No,
so don't worry about the 55K number at the moment. So like if you're like the 11 cap is based off of it's bringing in 22K a month, 22,035 times 12 is 264, 420
all right.
times point 0.7 gives you 185.094. And then that number divided by the purchase price. So the NOI of 185,094 divided by 1.65 equals 11.2. Then 11.
11.2. Yeah. Okay. I got that. And if you wanted to sell it on a 9 cap, then you would do,
That same NOI of 185.094
yeah.
divided by 0.09. That's 2,056,000.
What do you say? 185 times 12, no,
No, that's a
time,
division one.
oh, divided by 12.
So 185,094. So you do the NOI divided by the purchase price. So or no, excuse me. If we're doing it from a value perspective for the 9 cap, we do 185,094 divided by 0.09, and that gives you the 2,056,000.
1,056,000. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Did we send this out at?
You guys just sign off on this one as well.
This is one we sent out the agreement like 2 weeks ago, but the seller was like on vacation, so we're supposed to be following up with them this week.
That's like $300,000-$400,000 on that puppy. Gee, if you sell it or not. Now, do you try to is that is that usually the cap that you usually try to sell these at a 9 cap?
It's really market dependent, asset
Market. Okay.
dependent.
Okay.
Um, So yeah, it really just depends on the market. Like if it was a like Cincinnati, Ohio, it's like decent in terms of like population, but it's like not like high in like income, and it's not like it's like a B or an A or a B type of market.
Okay. Okay. So again, then that would be obviously just kind of going through and learning the market, or at least getting an idea what the market looks like with that. Okay, that's
Yeah, so
cool.
just again, just like looking at those three major metrics. So, population, great population, over 300 grand. Like
All right.
that's like A in terms of population, like in terms of the size. So average income, average household income is 42,000, and it actually looks like it's trending upwards. That's
Mm-hmm.
also kind of what we're looking for as well. Like in particular with population, income, and even the home prices. But like, is the population increasing or decreasing? And then average home price. Yeah, so like it's like 42K and then 255. So it's actually like it's probably a slightly better market than it's like I guess like probably like a C minus.
C minus. Okay.
All right. Any other questions you had?
No, man, I'm good. I'm good. This is helping me tremendously. So this has helped me tremendously. So no, I'm good.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna send out an email with everyone later, but I'll see you tomorrow. And like I said, we'll be going over like marketing and data tomorrow. That way
Okay.
everyone can start like pulling the data and get to doing some marketing. And then, after that, we're gonna start going over like sales and analysis and stuff like that. But yeah, if you ever have any questions, like anything at all, like hit me up and we can go over it anytime.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you
Yep.
so much. Talk to you later. Okay.
Yep. Take care. Bye bye.